So Heather, do check out our newly rolled out SAP FICO course where we have covered end-to-end training of finance and controlling module. So, behind making of this course, our main objective was to make our student understand the why behind every step or every configuration that we do in the system. So keeping that in mind, each of our lecture curated in order to make the student understand why we do certain steps in the system and what impact it makes on the end side of the SAP. So if you are interested in the course or opting out for the course, you can check out our website erpcollege.co. If you go on the website, you can go into the section SAP FICO course where you can opt for each and individual module separately, or you can even opt for the entire SAP FICO training as well. Inside, you will see the detailed description of the course of the each module, and if you want to check out the course contents, you can just click here and download the content menu. It is total of 35 hours plus downloadable content, 35 lectures, and videos are accessible to download from the any of the device, right? So few of the descriptions you can check in here. If you are interested in opting out for any specific module, you can go ahead and purchase that module course. You will be able to download a PDF where you can access all of the training material and videos.
Today we will see the payment terms, okay, like the introduction of payment terms, and we will configure the payment terms, and then we will also try to post some invoices and all, and see how the payment term is working and what is the use of payment term and everything, okay, where we can assign it and all. So we'll start with the concept of payment terms, okay. So the definition of payment terms is the terms of payment are used in SAP to determine the due date and discount calculation, okay. So the definition is like the terms of payment are used in SAP to determine the due date and discount calculation. So the payment term is basically like the name is suggesting that it is a terms of for doing the payments. Okay, so to whom we pay? To vendors we pay, right? We buy the goods from vendor, we raise the invoices, like we enter the invoice in our system for that vendor, and against that invoice we have to pay them. So for paying them the amount against that invoices, there will be some terms that vendor will say us, right? Some vendor will say us, if you pay my bill within 5 days, I will give you 2% discount. If somebody say if you pay my bill within 10 days, I will give you 1% discount, right? Like that, some will say, you must have to pay my invoice within 15 days. Beyond 15 days, it's not accepted. Like the 15 days is max limit I'm giving you. You should pay that invoice by that date, right? So to manage all of those things, all of these terms of payment in SAP, we have one function called payment terms. Okay, because in SAP it's not easy to track all these things, right? There will be thousands of different vendors, and for those thousands of vendors, we will have tens of thousands of invoices, and each day, every day, there will be hundreds of invoices will get due. Like we cannot monitor all those things, right? Each vendor will have different terms of payment. Each invoice will get to today, tomorrow, or any day. There could be like hundreds of invoices will be due to pay. So all those things in order to manage all these things, the SAP has provided this payment terms functionality. Okay. So using this payment terms, we would be able to calculate the due date, net due date of the invoice, like at what date this invoice must be paid. We would be able to, the system would be able to automatically determine the discount amount when we are doing the payment. If we are paying within 10 days, within 5 days, and if the assigned payment term says like we will get a discount, then system will enter the discount entry also, right? So all those things will happen using the payment terms. So due date of invoice and percentage of discount is decided in payment terms. Okay, so how much percentage of the discount should get, and what is the due date of invoice? What will be the due date of invoice of any particular invoice will be decided based on payment terms, right? So first we have to like now define the payment terms in the system, right? So what we will do. So this the concept you are clear, right? We will be having invoices in our system, right? Yeah, let's say if you buy some goods from XYZ vendor, against that goods we have to pay something to that vendor. So for that we will enter one invoice, right? Right now we have one ABC vendor, right? So ABC vendor account will be credit for let's say 1,000 rupees, and goods account debit. Like we receive the goods from this vendor, right? So we are saying goods account debit 1,000 to vendor account 1,000. So this means like vendor is having credit balance of 1,000 means we have to pay 1,000 rupees to this vendor, right? This is one invoice, right? Sorry. So this is one invoice that we have entered in our system. This invoice will have one document number and all. So this invoice is saying we have to pay 1,000 rupees to this vendor. But when we have to pay, at what date we have to pay, and what if we pay immediately, or if we paid after 10 days, after 15 days, is there any discount that vendor is giving us for early payment? If he is not giving any discount, then we will pay it at the end of the day of the payment term, right? Instead of paying immediately. So all those things we will handle using the payment terms, right? So what we will do, we will create different payment terms, right? We will create different payment terms, right? And these payment terms, we will assign these payment terms to the vendors, right? If this vendor says, if you are paying me the my invoice amount within 5 days, I will give you 2% discount, right? If you are paying me within 10 days, I will give you 1% discount, right? And if and you have to pay, you must have to pay within 15 days. If you miss 5 days, 10 days, both the days, till 15 days you have to must pay, and after 10 days there is no discount, okay? And you must have to pay. So like this terms of payment this vendor has given us, okay? He's saying that this is my terms of payment. So using these conditions, we will configure one payment term, we will create one payment term, and we will give a name to that payment term like N01P or something. And then we will assign these payment terms to this vendor, so that system will know these and all the conditions this vendor have. So whenever we are making payment, system will calculate how many days has been passed since we enter this invoice. If only 2-3 days has passed, system will say you are eligible for 2% discount. If you are paying this after 10 days, system will say there is no discount, you have to pay full amount. So like that, with these conditions, we will create as a payment term, and then we will assign it into our vendor master. So now we will see how we can create these payment terms, right? So for that, we will go into our recipe system. Right, so the path that we have here for creating payment term is like, either we can go by direct transaction code, which is OBB8, or we can go by SPRO, financial accounting new. In reference IMG, we have to go financial accounting new. In financial accounting new, account receivable, account payable, business transaction, master data. Right, account receivable, account payable, business transactions, and business transaction master data. Okay, this path is not correct, I guess. If we see outgoing payment, maintain terms of payment. So incoming invoices or outgoing invoices, both will have terms of payment, both are same only. Right. So in business transaction, we have to go down. this and then maintain terms of payment. Right. So we'll just execute this. And then we can see in SAP has already given us some predefined terms of payment. Like this one is like 0001, which is saying something payable immediately, means invoice is payable immediately right after entering it. Then we have 0002, which is saying if you paid within 13 days, 2% cash discount. If you paid within 45 days, no discount. And if you paid within 14 days, 3% cash discount. Like this payment term is there. So if you see here, you can also here also you can see. So there are total 114 payment terms already available in our system, out of which some 50-60 will be SAP standard and others are like other people have created it. So we can always like check for what terms of payment we want to, or we want to create for our business. If it is already available, then we can just use the existing one. Like this you can see, like almost all types of requirement they have covered. But still, if we receive something new, we might need to create new. So what we will do, we will also create new for our self. So we have to give some name to our payment term. So we will give N01P, right? And here we will say something like payment term for our N01 company code, like that we will say. Then after that, we have to select for what types of account this payment terms is allowed. Do you want to only make it allow for vendors, or only for customers, or for both, right? So right now we talked about only one example, which was from the vendor side, right? But similarly from customer side, we have to receive payments, right? For receiving also, if you want to give them some conditions, like if you pay me within 5 days, I will give you discount. That also we can cover in the same payment term. So right now we will say yes, we want this payment term for both customer and vendors. Now, then the next column or next thing is baseline date calculation. Okay. Now this is a very important thing that we have to check. So baseline, first of all, we will say what is the baseline date calculation. Okay. So let's say we, while posting any document, we enter two dates in it, right? One we entered as document date, right? And one we entered as posting date, right? So, and there will be one more date called entry date, okay, in system. So what will happen? Let's say this invoice we are posting, and this invoice we are posting on 5/5/23, right? Which means today. Then entry date will be automatically taken by system. System will automatically take the entry date, saying that 05/05/2023 is the entry date. System will say this on this date we have booked our invoice, right? So this is the entry date is something that will automatically captured by the system. This is just for like audit purpose, or for knowing us like at what date or at what time we book this accounting entry. Entry date can also be seen if we go and check our /OFB03 right here. Let's take one document from our N01 company code. Right. We'll just open this one document maybe. If you check, this is one accounting entry, and this accounting entry has two dates. One is document date, one is posting date. Okay. And then if you click on this header button will say you the entry date. So this entry date is saying entered on, this transaction was actually posted on 19 April, but while entering the date, this user has entered the date. This user has entered the date as 24, means 20 April, 20 April, right? So these three kinds of dates will be there. Okay, one is entry date, where system will automatically capture this date and time, at what time and at what minute, at what second you posted this accounting entry. System will capture that automatically, and then you will have the option to enter the document date and posting date. Okay. So now how you want to use the document date and posting date field, it will be up to the users. But mostly what users will do, see, this is vendor invoice. So vendor will send us the one invoice, right? So on the invoice, whatever date will be there, so user will enter that date as a document date, right? let's say our vendor has created invoice yesterday and he sent us the invoice 2 days back, right? If our vendor has created invoice on 2nd May and he sent us the invoice on the 5th May, then of course we are going to enter the invoice on 5th May, right? But the invoice date or the date on invoice will be 2nd May. So you can enter document date as 2nd May, right? And posting date is up to user what they want to enter, right? They want to keep the posting date as the same document date, they can keep. Or if they want to say like, okay, I am posting this on 5th May, so I will say my posting date is 5th May because I am posting the document or this invoice on the 5th May. So like that, these all dates could be different, right? What point we are trying to say here, these all dates could be different, right? Here user can also enter 6th May, right? Here user can also enter 6th May. So all the dates are different. Then how will you calculate the 5 days for this 2% discount, right? Are you going to calculate from 2nd May, or are you going to calculate from 5th May, or are you going to calculate from 6th May, right? So in order to decide that from which date we should calculate it, we need to tell system what is our baseline date. What will be our baseline date? So here it is by default selected. No default means no way, there is no such default. You can system can select from anywhere, or we can tell system calculate my 5 day discount days or net due date from the document date. If you select this radio button, then system will check at what document date your document is carrying. Here it is 2nd May, means system will calculate the 5 days from 2nd May, system will calculate 10 days from 2nd May, 15 days from 2nd May. So it will depend on the user what they want to do. They will just ask us and say, keep our baseline date as document date or posting date or entry date, anything we can keep, right? And this fixed day or something is like, if you want to keep some fixed day, document date is 2nd May, but you want to keep one additional day, then you can enter one in fixed day. Then what system will do, system will say, okay, 2nd May is the document date plus one fixed day means 3rd May. So system will say, okay, from 3rd May onward I have to calculate 5 days. So it's like that kind of feature, but it's not useful at all. So we will say our baseline date will be document date. Then this payment block things are there, like if you want to block payment and all. But since we already have saw yesterday, we have the field in vendor master to block payment, so we will not use this. And then here now we have to enter our condition, right? Here we will say 5% discount if paid within 5 days. Number of days is 5. Then we will say 2% of discount if paid within 10 days. And if we are if user is paying within 15 days, 10 to 15 days, there is no discount, and 15 will be last due date, net due date. Before this, they must have to pay, right? So like that, this condition we have created, right? Now we will press enter, and system has automatically created this explanation. See, this is explanation box. So system is saying within 5 days means 5% discount, within 10 days means 2% discount, and within 15 days is nothing, no discount, but it will be net due, right? Means our system should not cross this date to pay the invoice of vendor where we have assigned this payment term, right? So this payment term is now ready, right? We will save this payment term, right? We will save this payment term, and then we'll just now this payment term is created. N01P is payment term is ready. So we have just created one payment term, one terms of payment in our system. Now we have to use this payment term to the into the vendors. So let's say this terms of payment is ABC vendor has said us that this will be my terms of payment. If you follow it, I will give you a discount. If you want to give me within 15 days or after 10 days, there will be no discount, like that this ABC vendor told us. So according to whatever this vendor told us, we have created one payment terms, but now we have to tell system that this is the payment term for ABC vendor, right? So for that, what we have to do, we have to assign this payment term into that vendor master. For that, we will go to accounting, financial accounting, accounts payable, and in accounts payable we'll go to master records, and we will select change the payment term, right? I will select this. N01 is company code, this is my ABC vendor, and maybe just select all things. We don't know where to enter payment terms, so we'll just press enter. So first tab, oh, this field become mandatory. I think someone made some field status level changes. So we'll just say search term as this is my ABC. Second tab is tax related. Third tab is bank data. Fourth tab is contact details. Then this onwards will be our company code data. This is reconciliation account sort key. In second tab, we could see there is one field called payment terms. And right now 0001 means it is like due immediately. But this is not the case in this case of this vendor. So we will assign our newly created payment term, which is N01P, right? And we'll just come back once. So this is the payment term now we have assigned to our vendor 20085 ABC. Now system will know that if we are trying to pay the invoice of this vendor immediately, so system should give us some discount, right? So what we will try to do, we will save this payment term in this vendor. Now we'll go back. This payment term is assigned to the vendor. So what we will do, we will create one invoice now to check how payment term is working. To create invoice, we have to go to document entry folder and click on this invoice transaction. And here now we have to select which vendor. So this is my vendor. And what invoice date I want to give. Let's say I want to, just now we took the example of this 0205 invoice date I will give. And I will say test one. And the posting date, I want to keep the date as today, or let's change it to maybe tomorrow's date. So we will have the exact scenario. And then amount, let's say 1,000 rupees. Vendor not defined. Oh, company code is, we have to change to N01. And then amount is 1,000. Then we have to enter the GL account. We will say again audit fees. We'll give 1,000, press enter, right? And then we could save this, but before saving, there is one tab, which is a payment tab, okay? So if you click on this payment tab, you will get to see the prefer payment, priceline date, payment method, okay. There should be a payment terms tab should be activated here, but it is not, which means our configuration is field status configuration for the GL is incomplete. If we save this document, and if you just click on display the document that we just saved, so this is the accounting entry we posted, ABC Limited to audit fees. And if we double click on ABC Limited line item, there should be a terms of payment section here, which is not visible. So why it is not visible, right? These fields are suppressed somewhere, right? So what we have to do, we have to investigate this thing. For that, like, let's go back to our vendor master record and display my vendor. And I want to see the reconciliation account, because from the GL account level, we will be doing these things. So this is our reconciliation account. This is my GL account assigned to this vendor master. So I will just now go to FS00 transaction, which is my GL account creation transaction. I will just say, I will just, company is N01 only. So I will just search for my GL account and close this. Double click on accounts payable. And this is our vendor reconciliation account. If you go to third tab, there will be this thing, field status group, which is G001. If you double click on it, and if you double click on payment transaction, you see payment terms is suppressed, means payment term field is separates. So that's why system is not showing us this field. Suppress means no, don't show, not even optional or required, it is directly suppressed. So what we have to do, we have to use the right field status group where it will not be suppressed, right? Payment fields. So we will just click F4 and we will just try to determine something. Receivable, payable, what we can give, accounts for down payment, maybe receivable, payable, clearing we can try. We'll just double click on it. double click on payment transaction, and if we see the payment term field is optional here, but what and all other fields are suppressed or what, we also have to take care of that. Maybe G001 is correct. We'll just try to change OBC4 maybe. Right. Did we created a, okay, let's check what field status group is assigned to our company code OBY6 and 01. This OBY6 transaction is a helpful transaction where you could check all the assignments shortcutly. So you could see field status variant N01 is assigned to our N01 company code. So here we will search for N01 and we'll just select this. We'll double click on field status group. We have this one reconciliation accounts G0061. We go inside this, we check payment transaction. Okay, here are all the optionals, right? So we need to use this one. We'll just assign G067 and we will save it. Okay, just go back. Right. Now we will try to post an invoice. Now we should be able to see the payment terms. Oh, sorry, not GL. We want to go post vendor invoice. So accounts payable. And this is our vendor invoice, vendor number. Amount is 1,000 rupees. Press enter. Cash discount may only be granted up to 1%. Okay. So this is some tolerance that we have assigned in the back end. So in payment terms, you see now all of this in payment tab, all of these fields have already started appearing here, right? Which means what is happening, like this has system has taken this payment term from the our master record. Now here itself on the invoice level, if you want to make some changes, saying that I don't want 5% discount, maybe I just want 1%, or I just, so user has given something else, or you want to change the dates, anything you can change on the invoice level as well. But usually whatever is the vendor level, we should keep that as it is. So right now we are getting one error saying that cash discount may only be granted up to 1%. Okay, so this is something that we have done or we have defined in the this FI tolerance group, right? This tolerance group for users, we said now, we discussed, right, that we don't want users to be giving discount, too much of discount to our vendors or anyone. So for that reason, we will have this one concept called tolerance group. Tolerance group for users N01. Okay, I guess we have something kind of, yes, sorry, N01. So here, if you go, we just said like cash discount allowed up to per line item is 1%, and this is assigned to our user Chandan01. So let's change it to 10%. Save it. Oh, we closed our this transaction. Let's create new session. So go to accounting, financial accounting, accounts payable, document entry, invoice. Again, enter our vendor, the amount. Right. So cash discount may only be granted up to 1%. Still, we are having same error. Let's show only 57. So okay, Chandan is assigned to GRA. That's why we'll change it to SRA. Now if we press enter, okay, we have to come again. Right, now we don't have any error, and if you go to payment tabs, everything is there. So now we will just save this entry. And we will just go back. Now we have posted one invoice, right? We have posted one invoice with some payment terms and with everything, right? Now we need to know whether system is calculating the due date of this invoice correctly or not, and how system is calculating the due date. So for that, we will go to our regular transaction, which is FBL1N, which is display or change line items. Here we will select open items because that invoice is still not paid. So we will say ask system to show all the open items on this vendor, all the open invoices. N01, no items selected for 5523. Oh, I think we enter the date as 6. Let's try with 6. Okay. With 6, we could see there are two, right? We have posted two. The first one was like without payment terms because our field was suppressed. The second one is with payment terms. So with both the things, you could see there is one column here that is net due date symbol, right? What it is saying, like net due date symbol means the due date of invoice, like last day of invoice payment, like we should not cross that date. If you go to first line item and select this, it is saying overdue, means it is already due for payment. You should make the payment today itself. Why it is saying like that? Because the payment term was suppressed. System is not able to identify what is the terms of payment. So system is saying it is already due and you should pay. But with the second line where we entered our payment term, there if you go and select, system will say it is not due yet. It is not due yet because the last due date is after 15 days, right? So we have the time of 15 days to pay this invoice, right? But what is the exact date, right? That if you have to select, you have to go to this change layout option in this report, and here you have to add some columns into your reports. For that, this right hand side section, you can say hidden fields, means these fields are right now not showing in the reports. On the left hand side fields only you are able to see. So what we will do, we will search for the net due date column, and we will add that in our report. So here we can see there is one field called net due date. So we'll just add this due date field into our report and we'll execute, and here you go. Right. So system is saying net due date for our second invoice is 17th of May. So how system calculated 17th of May is our document date is 2nd May plus 15 days is equal to 17th May. So why system took 2nd May instead of 6th May or 5th May, which is today's date? That is because in configuration of payment term, we told system that the baseline date should be 2nd May, right? And because of this, system has calculated this 17th May net due date. And now system will know that we have to pay this invoice within 17th May, right? So this is how our payment terms will work. And this is how like we could create a n number of payment terms and we could assign it to different vendors as per the requirements. And whenever we will post invoices, system will automatically calculate everything in the backend and show us like on 17th May, if you run the report for 17th May due date selecting, system will show you all the open items that should be paid on the 17th May, right? You could put the filter on this column and check how many invoices should be paid by today for this vendor or for any other vendor, right? So for like these purposes, these payment terms will be used, right? And this payment term thing will be mostly useful for the automatic payment run that we are going to see next in upcoming sessions, where we will be able to do the payment automatically, right? Because we already talked about this, that in SAP, whatever companies or organizations that use SAP are very big companies, and they cannot make everything manually, right? They cannot even post invoices like one by one, or they cannot even make the payment of each invoices one by one, because every day they have to make the payment against thousands of invoices, or like even tens of thousands of invoices. So they cannot keep doing this payment manually, like we whatever we saw yesterday, right? How we can make the payment of invoice and all those things. But that is just there, but nobody will be using that. So for making mass payment, SAP has given one function called automatic payment program, which is a very big chapter in this accounts payable module that we will be seeing in next session. But in that automatic payment program, this payment term will only help that program to identify all the due items, and what will be the benefit if we pay today this invoice, what will be the benefit if we pay this invoice after 15 days. So all those things will be considered in that automatic payment program, which we'll be seeing in next. Okay. So this is how the payment term concept is there in the system.